Sophie, let's talk some Nottingham Forest. Give us a word or two words to describe how you're feeling about Forest coming into the upcoming season.
New page, fresh start.
Fresh start? Yeah, I'll go with that as well. Welcome back to yet another video, guys. We are talking some Nottingham Forest today ahead of their upcoming Premier League season, the 24-25 season, their third season in the Premier League since returning. Before we get into the video and talk some Nottingham Forest, let's go for 900 likes. Hit that like button if you would like to see myself and Sophie back at the City Ground at some point soon. Make sure to subscribe as well. We have already got a massive army of Nottingham Forest fans that are already subscribed. It's like 95% of Nottingham. Make sure to subscribe though if you haven't already. 68% of our viewers are not subscribed. And with all of that said, Sophie, let's talk some Nottingham Forest. Now, I gave some early predictions for the Premier League a couple days ago, and I said I think right now, I think Forest might finish a couple places higher next season. I've seen so many Forest fans in the comments that are being ambitious and talking about mid-table or even higher. I like that. I like the ambition. Can they live up to that expectation though?
Yes, so I've seen the opposite, not from the Forest fans, but from other fans. And when they're doing their predictions, they're having Forest to go down. And I don't think that's a bad thing, really, when your own fans think you'll do okay. Other fans don't think you will. As long as your own fans have that confidence, because they can see a lot more, they're obviously keeping tabs on things and they know a lot more about their own players, the way things ran. So as long as there's some confidence there, that leads me thinking they'll have a better season. And I do think they will, because our words being fresh start, new leaf, mainly is due to there being no points deduction looming over them this season. Yes,
it's a good point. It's a good point you've mentioned that. A lot of the Forest fans are feeling optimistic and ambitious. Some people that are not Forest fans have written them off.
Yeah.
They could just be like, fine, we'll prove you wrong.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's interesting. We'll go into a bit more detail in a second on what's to come for Forest in the upcoming season, but let's just rewind the clock a little bit to find out how Forest got here. Now, I have so much respect for Forest. Massive club. I love the City Ground, and the history is rich, and you know, so much great footballing heritage has come from the City Ground. Let's just rewind the clock to 3 years ago. In 2021, Forest finished 17th in the Championship. To think 3 years later they are now going into their third season in the Premier League is unbelievable. Of course, at the start of the 21-22 season they were doing terrible. They replaced Chris Hughton with Steve Cooper. He shot them up into 4th place. They won the playoffs. They returned to the Premier League for the first time since 1999. In the first season they had to do a lot of business. They had to bring in a lot of players because a lot of the players that they had in the Championship were loan players, but they did stay up in that first season in 16th place, mainly due to the home form. Going into the 23-24 season last year, Steve Cooper didn't get off to a great start. Things were not looking great off the pitch. In December he was replaced by Nuno. Now obviously I've said how much I rated Steve Cooper, but Forest do need to turn a new page now. Their fans were divided. Some wanted Cooper out, some wanted Cooper in. It's happened now. The fans need to unite if they are going to push in the right direction. Nuno came in. There was a pretty immediate impact when they beat Newcastle 3-1, Manchester United 3-1. And then in the end, they limped over the line after a points deduction. But 32 points, if they had their 4 points added back on, it would have only been 36 points. I think it is fair to say Forest did survive because we had 3 really bad teams that came up. But they did do enough to get over the line. I think the Forest fans are so glad to see the back of last season. It was like driving down a road full of potholes. You had the managerial change, you had the FFP, there was also all that drama around the controversy with the refereeing decisions. I mean, what was going on? I mean, when they put out that tweet, there was Mark Clattenburg, it was such a mess.
He's gone now as well, hasn't he? He has gone. And I think that's a good thing because yes, they did get robbed a few times. I think even as a neutral I can say that. But I don't think appointing Mark Clattenburg was the right thing. I actually think it was a waste of money and actually almost added a distraction. They just needed to, yes, they can put their complaints in, but I think the club can do that without actually appointing someone. And I mean, everyone gets decisions given against them. They did get more than others, but when the decisions are then done, there's no going back on it. So in some ways you think, okay, you're looking back at the last game and actually all eyes on the next game now because you've not got that many points. And I think that's why it's going to be different this season, because there's not going to be as much looking back. I think leave last season where it wasn't a good season at all, with the points deduction and just general performance throughout the season. And I think, yeah, get off to a good start, and I could see it being a decent season.
Absolutely, yeah. So looking forward to next season. Clattenburg's gone, Cooper's gone, and they've sold some players now, Sophie. They've sold Niakate for 27 million. They've sold Mangala for 20 million. They've sold Vlachodimos for an undisclosed fee to Newcastle United. Now, I don't know the nuts and bolts of the financial figures right now. I can't say for sure that Forest won't get a points deduction, but I feel a lot more like they're safer. You know, I feel really like that they're not going to get punished this time around because of the sales. We knew that they had to sell players, but now let's talk about the players they are bringing in as we look forward to next season. So they've signed Marko Stamjanic. He was actually linked with Coventry City. They've also signed Elliot Anderson from Newcastle United, Carlos Miguel, and currently, as I speak, Nikola Milenkovic is coming through the door. So it does feel like they are building a nice team again. I do feel like Nuno was still quite defensive, and that was one of the things Cooper got criticised for. I'd like to see Forest be a little bit more adventurous, especially at the City Ground, because I think that place is a cauldron. That's another thing coming into this season that is a talking point, the City Ground. I love the City Ground, by the way. Great atmosphere, history, heritage, all of that kind of stuff. But there is demand to renovate or even move to a new stadium, Sophie, because despite the prices of season tickets taking quite a jump, there is like waiting lists for Forest fans to get season tickets. So yes, the demand is there. They're building up the team. The fan base is one of the most passionate.
Yeah.
And like I say, if they can be united, Marinakis, yes, he might divide some opinions, but you feel like a lot of Forest fans are behind him. He has put a lot of money into this club. I have a feeling Forest could be a dark horse. Now, I know that was said last season and it didn't quite happen, but like I say, there was potholes in the road. This time round, there is cause to be optimistic, but like I say, it could also work the other way. It's going to be difficult for teams in the bottom half to stay up if Leicester, Southampton and Ipswich put up a good fight. So, final thing, Sophie, business is looking okay. The background is a more settled picture. Can Forest push on this season?
Yeah, I would like to see a little bit more business before feeling a bit more confident, but I'd like to think they'd have a better season. As you mentioned, it is key to say that it does depend on how the promoted teams, how they perform, because if they all get off to a really good start, you're looking at the teams thinking, well, who's going down then? And Forest will be in the mix for a lot of people. So I think get off to a good start. I would like to see a little bit more business, as I've said, and I think it could be a more positive season.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, remember the Premier League season does kick off the week after the Championship season starts, so still quite a bit of time for Forest to bring in some players, but I think right now there is cause for optimism, but we will see. Share your thoughts, guys, down in the comments. Whether you're a Forest fan or not, I would like to know what your thoughts and expectations are for Nottingham Forest in the upcoming season. If you've enjoyed this video, guys, please make sure to drop a like, make sure to subscribe as well, and we will see you in the next one. Take care, peace out.